Hogwarts Legacy 2 is undeniably one of the most highly anticipated sequels in the entire gaming industry, and if you've been waiting for an update on the future of the Wizarding World, this is exactly what you've been looking for, because behind the scenes, something major is starting to shift with Avalanche Software, and it doesn't feel like this is just random timing. There are clear signs that something major is shifting behind the scenes, that the next chapter is quietly gearing up, and once you start connecting all the dots, this starts to look like the beginning of a full-blown reveal cycle. So today we'll be breaking everything down, why this actually matters, and what this could mean for the future of Hogwarts Legacy. Let's start things off by looking at the actual state of the studio, because Avalanche Software has been operating in complete radio silence for quite a long time at this point, and that is officially changing because a brand new update just hit the community over on the Harry Potter game subreddit, as well as Avalanche Software officially confirming that they have hired a new community manager named Cody, aka Vaknar. I believe that's a pronunciation, sorry if I butchered it, but they just put up a formal communication stating that they are the new community manager, which at first glance, like, this makes sense. Chandler recently left the company to pursue some other stuff, so it makes sense that they would eventually find his replacement, which they just did. But if you actually understand how the overall video game marketing cycle operates, this right here is a phenomenal indicator of what could be happening behind closed doors. And that's the exact same thing that happened down in the comment section of his post on Reddit. One user immediately commented exactly what we were all thinking, stating, "Oh man, this can only mean one thing, it is coming." And of course, Cody responded to that comment being incredibly coy, stating, "Whatever could you be referring to?" And of course ended that sentence off with the thinking emoji. Now let's be real, Cody, we know what you're thinking. You're thinking it, I'm thinking it, everyone's thinking it. This has to be about, the sequel to Hogwarts Legacy, or aka Hogwarts Legacy 2. Now this whole, situation has my mind been racing, like, over the last 12 hours or 18 hours since this happened. Like, my mind is like, okay, what does this mean? Are they preparing for a big announcement? Like, what is going on? And this immediately had me thinking, like, are they preparing for a world premiere reveal of Hogwarts Legacy 2? Like, first and foremost, we know the reveal of Hogleg 2 is not just a possibility, it is inevitable at this point. Like, we know it's happening. The first game was an absolute juggernaut. Like, it dominated the industry, it broke massive sales records, and it achieved the impossible by dethroning Call of Duty as the best-selling game of the year in a non-Rockstar year. Now, given the fact that Avalanche has been quietly expanding their development team and building off the highly successful foundation of the first game, they aren't starting from scratch. They already have the fully realized castle, which I have some theories about the castle and how it might change. Like, I have a feeling that whatever the castle of the show is going to look like, they might actually change the castle in this game to be exactly like the show. Yeah, essentially they don't have to start from scratch. They have most of everything pretty much built with the combat loop and all of the required things to make a video game. Now, with the new community manager stepping into the spotlight right now and actively teasing the subreddit, it was kind of a teaser he did. Granted, he just started with the company, so it's not like he knows all of the ins and outs. Like, he said that in his statement. But with all that being said, I fully expect WB Games and Avalanche Software to give us the first cinematic teaser trailer for Hogwarts Legacy 2 later this year. This is a massive year for Harry Potter. Like, we've got the show coming out soon, and it only makes sense for them to also capitalize on that hype for Hogwarts Legacy 2. It's in Warner Brothers' best interest, in my opinion. Now, what I think is the best part of this entire sequel isn't just the game itself, it's how it's going to interact with the broader Wizarding worlds. We know that the highly anticipated HBO Harry Potter TV series is officially dropping this upcoming Christmas, but what I think completely shatters the conversation is the fact that TV series and the video game are not going to exist in a separate vacuum. If you guys remember what the statement from David Haddad said was, he said this on record, and he confirmed that the games team at Avalanche Software have been actively coordinating big picture story elements in the Hogwarts Legacy sequel with the storylines that will play out in the HBO TV series. So from what it sounds like is they're actively making it so that the games will connect to the show's storyline, which I think this brings up the important question: are they connecting the game story to season 1 of the show, or are they laying the groundwork for season 2? Season 1 is obviously going to cover the events of the Philosopher's Stone. Now, it's highly possible that they connect the Hogwarts Legacy 2 story to the overarching narrative surrounding somebody like Nicholas Flamel and the creation of the Philosopher's Stone. But if we're getting season 1 of the show and then the game after, it might not make sense for them to connect the storyline to season 1. However, if Hogwarts Legacy 2 releases before season 2 of the show, it makes a lot of sense for them to cover the Chamber of Secrets. Now, we already explored the Slytherin Scriptorium and dealt with the legacy of the Gaunt family through Ominous, but if Hogwarts Legacy 2 features a time jump, which it definitely sounds like it will, we could easily see a storyline that heavily dives into the first opening of the Chamber of Secrets, maybe even setting the stage for the Basilisk and stuff like that for the second season of the HBO series, and be walking in the halls of Hogwarts Hogwarts at the same time as Tom Riddle and, Dumbledore. Now, some fans have, really heavily analyzed the HBO teaser and noted that some of the, architect design of the Great Hall and the castle corridors and Herbology's, class also looked pretty similar to what Avalanche Software built with Hogwarts Legacy. Ultimately, I think the game being connected to the Harry Potter shows like storyline only bodes well to the reveal of Hogwarts Legacy 2, which we'll talk about in just a minute. Now, with all of this talk about the sequel, I'd like to, talk about something that has been a big concern that I think a lot of people have had regarding the sequel, and that is the introduction of multiplayer elements. Now, the industry trend heavily pushes towards live service models and constant connectivity, and even WB executives have notoriously stated that they want to heavily focus on live service games moving forward. So what does this mean for Hogwarts Legacy 2? Like, obviously the core Hogwarts Legacy 2, in my opinion, absolutely has to remain a premium narrative-driven single-player RPG, but I wouldn't be totally against introducing a dedicated or, optional multiplayer modes or stuff like that to elevate the, replayability. Now, I'm not talking about turning Hogwarts into a massive MMO or anything like that. I'm talking about just various multiplayer elements that could be unique. Like, imagine a fully fleshed out dedicated dueling club mode. The combat in the first game was surprisingly deep, so I think them taking that exact combat system and allowing players to, duel their actual friends in a 1v1 or a 2v2 arena is something that I would certainly play. Now, there's also some dreams that I'm sure you guys have had, and I'm myself as well, about a true co-op game that's, Hogwarts Legacy. Like, imagine playing through the first Hogleg, but it's you and like 3 other friends. Like, that would be pretty cool. But that's only if they have a fully fleshed out single player mode first and foremost. Like, they have to make sure that that is really good. And then obviously if they do a co-op, that should be just an added thing that is completely separate. But that's the only type of multiplayer aspects that I would want. Like, that is it. Them jumping into multiplayer and live service mumbo jumbo is just a slippery slope, and it could go really bad really quickly. So that's why they should focus on single player first. And if there's like added multiplayer modes in the future, I'm fine with that, as long as it's not taking away from the core experience that we should be expecting. Now, I do think that there's also some opportunities for Hogwarts Legacy 2 to expand and, dive deeper into some of the elements, like the mini games, like having Quidditch in the game. I felt like that was such a missed opportunity. As much as I do enjoy Quidditch Champions, like I thought that was pretty fun, but that unfortunately came and went. Like, the player base largely moved on. So in my opinion, I think it's officially time for them to start, adding those experiences to Hogwarts Legacy 2. And the same goes for Wizard's Chess and Gobstones. Like, give us those experiences in the game. They already have the core foundation of it built, so they don't have to like, build the core systems again. So I think they have to just get more in depth with the overall immersion. Like, we want the student experience to really feel like you are a student at Hogwarts. So with the community manager officially hired, the HBO synergy that is supposedly locked in, and the game being a top priority for WB, I'd like to talk about the actual reveal and when we can actually see this game finally get unveiled. Now, right now, the Harry Potter HBO series is the absolute crown jewel for Warner Brothers right now. Like, dropping it in Christmas this year is going to be completely crazy. Like, it's going to dominate the conversation. Now, them releasing Hogwarts Legacy 2 around the same time as the show would be a disaster because they'd be cannibalizing each other, but I do think utilizing both the show and the game to market each other is a great idea. So with that being said, I think there's a solid chance we get the reveal for Hogwarts Legacy 2 this year. We have these summer game showcases coming up, and I think that that would be a smart move to announce it at that event, and of course, like, completely break the internet. Now, it could be that they don't want to cannibalize each other, like, in terms of the reveal and stuff, but I doubt that's going to be the case. They're going to want to maximize both, like, where they're going to use Hogwarts Legacy to promote the show and the show to promote Hogwarts Legacy 2. Now, in terms of the release for the game, like, we are pretty far out from the, first game. Like, it's been 3 years, and the first game took about 5 to 6 years to develop. So with that being said, we're like 3 years into Hogwarts Legacy 2's development, at least we assume. And if you combine that with the fact that they don't have to develop an entire game again, like, they've got the core systems built for Hogwarts Legacy 2, 3 years starts to look like quite a long time for a sequel. So I think a reveal this year with a possible like late 2027 or even like early 2028 release date for Hogwarts Legacy 2 is not out of the question. And I think it releasing around that time would also put it perfectly in line with the massive marketing push for season 2 of the HBO series. And of course, allow WB to execute all of the cross-media marketing that they want to happen. But one thing is for certain, Avalanche Software is making some moves, and I can't wait to learn more. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments section. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Congrats on the new job, Cody. We look forward to hearing more from you in the future. And until next time, this has been Wes, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.